Welcome to the Deep Dives. Today, we're tackling a word you hear all the time, coherent. Our goal, to really, get a handle on what it means, how it works. We got some interesting linguistic stuff to draw on.
Absolutely. It's fascinating how much is packed into, well, just one word sometimes.
Yeah.
And coherent, it might seem simple on the surface, but it's history. It really tells a story.
Okay, let's unpack this then. So coherent, it comes from Latin, right?
That's right. Cohere.
Which means sticking together.
Exactly. Break it down. Co, meaning together.
And herere, meaning to stick. Okay? Like things are actually physically connected.
Precisely. And that image, that core idea of sticking together, it directly informs the main definition we use today.
Which is?
As an adjective. Logical and consistent, and importantly, clearly expressed and connected.
Ah, so it's not just about the logic itself.
No, it's more than that. It's how those logical pieces fit together, how they connect to make a kind of unified whole. It really affects how we process things.
That's a great point. So you're saying coherent isn't just a synonym for logical.
Well, they're related, definitely. Both touch on reasoning, but coherent adds something more, that sense of clarity and flow.
Flow, okay.
Yeah.
So a logical argument could still be hard to follow.
It could, yeah. It might have sound steps, technically, but if it's presented disjointedly, it's not really coherent. A coherent argument makes the connections obvious.
Right. And how does that compare to being, say, articulate?
Good question. Being articulate is really about the expression, skillful language, clear speech.
Okay.
But you could be articulate, very well spoken, and still present ideas that, well, don't quite hang together logically. Coherence is about that underlying structure, the integrity of the ideas themselves.
Interesting distinction. Okay, one more comparison. Clear. If something's coherent, surely it's clear.
Often, yes. But clear just means easy to understand. You could have one statement that's perfectly clear on its own.
But doesn't fit with everything else.
Exactly. It doesn't cohere. Coherence demands that internal consistency, that logical link between the parts.
Okay, these nuances are really helpful. Let's think about some everyday examples.
Sure.
We often hear something like, she gave a really coherent explanation.
And that's positive, right? It tells you the explanation was easy to follow, logical, not rambling.
Right. But then you might get feedback like, your essay needs to be more coherent. It feels like it's jumping around.
Yeah, and there, the lack of coherence points straight to a problem with the logical flow. The ideas aren't connected properly.
And it's not always about formal stuff either. Like, he wasn't coherent after the anesthesia.
Exactly. That's about a state of mind where thoughts aren't connecting logically. It applies on a very basic level, too.
So even our own thoughts can lack coherence sometimes.
For sure. And on the positive side, again, if someone says, I love how our arguments are always so coherent.
That highlights how powerful well-connected ideas are. Persuasive.
Definitely persuasive.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. What about in, say, news reports or policy discussions?
Yeah.
How does coherent play out there?
Well, there it becomes a really critical standard for judging things.
How so?
You might see a headline, the policy lacks a coherent strategy.
Right. And that immediately signals a problem.
Yeah, it suggests there might be contradictions, or the goals don't match the methods, or it just doesn't quite, hang together.
Or conversely, you might read, his speech was praised for being coherent and well-structured.
And that praises the organization, the logical flow. It suggests effective leadership communication.
And if critics say a plan isn't coherent enough to succeed,
that's a serious critique. It implies a fundamental flaw in the plan's internal logic, its interconnectedness. It casts doubt on whether it can actually work.
So let's recap quickly. Coherent, from that Latin root sticking together, means logical, consistent.
Clearly expressed and with all the parts meaningfully connected.
We see its value everywhere, from just explaining something clearly day to day.
All the way up to evaluating major plans and strategies. It's really fundamental.
It makes you think, doesn't it? The ability to actually create coherence and also to recognize it or spot when it's missing
is key to effective communication and critical thinking, too. It's kind of how we build understanding.
So here's something for you listening to think about. How does really understanding this word coherent maybe change how you analyze information you come across?
Or even how you structure your own thoughts. Could paying more attention to coherence make your own ideas more impactful, more persuasive?
It seems like being able to see and build coherence is, well, a really valuable skill.
Absolutely. It helps navigate complexity, definitely, and communicate with more clarity and impact in a, let's face it, pretty complex world.